Hello and good afternoon to all the viewers who watch our English program every week. We are back again with this time talking about part 15 of the life of Jafar As-Sadiq, the stripper. And what we couldn't fit last time, the files that I had to bring last time, I brought them and I added it to our regular file so that we can share that with everybody. And I'm also going to send that link in Telegram for all the viewers who are in Telegram who want to view it, and also for myself so that I can follow you and see if there's any problems and I can fix it. If you have problems with the voice and you think that the problem is from my side, in this chat, you can send me a 1 if the voice is good and a 2 if the voice is bad. If you don't send me anything, later on I will double check it with my phone. If I don't see any problems with it, that means that the problem is not from my side and maybe you hit the mute button on your end or something went wrong on your side, but the feed that I'm putting out seems to be good. So I've already done that with a quick view of it in Persian. After the Persian program was finished, I viewed it. Everything seems to be good there, so I'm hoping everything's going to be good over here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get back to the work that we were in before and see where we're going to go from here. Okay, we're going to start with the disease of his mother. We're going to read a story written by Shias, and we're going to dissect this story. We're going to see how they lied. And we're going to prove to you that the lie that they made is not about what they say it is, and rather it's something else. I'm the perfect person to speak on this matter. Why? Because I have 8 PhDs. 6 of them are in natural medicine. 2 of them are in religion. Hence, I know what a disease would be. So I can talk about a disease, and I can tell you how that disease that they're talking about is not the disease they're talking about. Rather, it's something else. And I'll prove it to you step by step as we talk about it. All right. In the year 90 AH, smallpox spread in Yathrib. Where is Yathrib? Yathrib, today on the map, you see it under a different name. What name? Medina. Yathrib, when it was under the Jewish, and it was a Jewish settlement, it was a Jewish city, it was a well-known city, it had been there for many, many centuries prior to Islam. It was named Yathrib. When Muhammad took it over and exterminated the Jews, that's right, exterminated the Jews, just like you hear today, from the river to the sea, exterminate, 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 okay? When he exterminated the Jews out of that city, he named it Madinat al-Muhammad or Madinat al-Nabi. Okay, the city of the Prophet. So in Yathrib, in the year 90 AH, according to Shia Muslims, smallpox, you see, I'll highlight it for you. Smallpox spread. Now, at that time, nobody had a PhD in pathology. No one had come up with these names. The name smallpox at that time did not exist. How did they know it was smallpox? I mean, you need a pathologist to tell you what kind of disease you have. If you have not studied pathology, you cannot just go ahead and pick anything out of the air and say that's what the guy has. What tests did they do when the name didn't exist? That's how you know this is a lie. The first word they said is a lie and affected a large number of children, okay? Now, keep that in mind. Something is happening in the city, Medina, where the Prophet and his so-called family are from, or living in, and they're being born there. These imams of the Shia religion, they're all being born there. And something's happening that's affecting children. Jafar As-Sadiq was 7 or 10 years old when his mother feared for his health. She feared that this thing is going to get him. Okay. Health of her son, and went to Al-Tanfasa. Okay, Tanfasa is a rural village of near Medina, the same Yathrib. Okay, so she ran away from the city to the village. It's almost like saying you leave your city, whichever city you're living in now, and between the path of your city to the next big city, you find little areas that people live in on the side of the highway. And they'll say, like, population of this place is like 500 people, or 1,000 people, or 59,000 people, or something like that, some little small thing, right? So she left the city to go to that. Okay, then what happened? As you can see, I've highlighted the rest for you in different colors so you can really pay attention to it. Farwa, Mother Farwa, okay, because she was a child and she became a mother. That's how they put Farwa. Okay, remember that. She's a child and now she's a mother. Pedophilia. Jafar's mother, that's why they put Imam here. They don't want to let you know that there was pedophilia involved with his mother. Stayed with her son in Al-Tanfasa to be far from danger. But she had been affected with the disease. She had been affected with the disease without noticing so at the starting stage. So at the very beginning, she didn't notice, but then she started to find out. When the symptoms of the disease appeared, she noticed the extent of the danger. So she knew there was danger in it. She did not pay attention to her cure. She wasn't worried about her own cure because her sole concern was saving her son. Oh, but he wasn't affected. So she sent him elsewhere, far away from the place she had suffered the pains of the disease. Hello. Now, this does not make any sense. Let's explain why. Number one, unless a woman is out of her mind, she is going to do everything in her power to protect her kids. In the story, Jafar was not sick. She was sick. Hence, she would cure herself. Why didn't she cure herself? If you remember, at the very beginning of this whole 15 parts, Jafar As-Sadiq lived with his grandfather from the time he was born. Not only did he do that, but his father did the same, and his father's father, which is his grandfather, did the same, and his great-grandfather did the same. They all did the same, all the way to Ali ibn Abi Talib, which, he lived in Muhammad's house instead of Abu Talib's house, which was his father. He was in the bed of Muhammad. Even when Muhammad ran away, he would keep him in his bed. I mean, they shared a lot in a bed. And you just think about it, when someone is in your bed, what will you do with the person that's in your bed? Now you're catching up to what was done in the bed. Pedophilia was prevalent within this family, the family of Muhammad. Homosexuality was there, pedophilia was there, bisexualism was there, LGBT was prevalent. Now today, Muslims will try to deny that, but in reality, this is the first and only person who was part of LGBT before LGBT got the name LGBT, and proclaim that he's also a prophet, and all of his Ahl al-Bayt, blood relative family members that the Shias approve and call imams, they were in the same business when it came to their sexuality. They were all bisexual. They all loved pedophilia. A woman that takes her own kid and throws it far, far, far away from herself and all of her family members must have a problem with that child, psychological. If a woman finds out that her husband is cheating on her, or a woman finds out her boyfriend is cheating on her, it makes perfect sense that she would run away from him, disassociate herself from him. It makes sense that she would hate the person that her husband or boyfriend is having an affair with and would despise that person. Jafar As-Sadiq, from the very, very small age, has been in the bed of his grandfather and afterwards in the bed of Muhammad al-Baqir, his own father, and they've been doing the acts which people do in their bedroom, mostly between adults, except for the sickos who are pedophiles, which his grandfather and father were. She was jealous of the attention that Jafar al-Sadiq's buttocks was getting from his grandfather and father that was denied to her. Hence, she ran away. She threw the kid further out somewhere so she doesn't have to see him, away from the one that she's jealous. Makes perfect sense. We're going to prove this theory to you, and we're going to show it to you because what they say is wrong. We're going to show it from their story. When Imam Baqir was informed about this case, he found out that Jafar was stolen from his grandfather's house, sent somewhere else. Only Farwa knows, so no one can find him. She ran away somewhere else. You know, the family name is now damaged again. People are going to talk. He seized his lecture, stopped it, and his courses, and directed towards his wife. How did he know where she was? First of all, who told him? Were there texting? Was there emails being sent? Was there a WhatsApp at the time? How do they find out so fast? They haven't explained that. However, before traveling to visit her, he visited the tomb of his grandfather and asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They have to always give you these titles behind. Even Allah needs titles. The God of Islam, you have to make him bigger. He needs titles, man. Come on. Can't be that big. Yes, there's always room for bigger. Bigger is better, right? If you don't believe me, go ask the porn industry. To save his wife from this disease. Oh, now they're going to save the wife from the disease. When she knew about the Imam's coming, so the Imam hasn't reached, remember, we're talking about 1,400 years ago, okay? How is it she found out that he is coming before he arrives? I mean, the horses were the same speed. It's not like somebody had a Lamborghini and they got in it and they decided, he's on a horse. I can really beat that horse. I mean, I got a Lamborghini. Come on now. I'm going to drive down there faster, get there, give all the information and drive back. And he's still in the way. There was none of that. Another lie. They caught him in another lie where you can, anybody can see that. You can be blind and still see that. How does she find out? But anyway, she felt so proud of this visit. Now, if you're sick and you're really sick from a virus, especially like smallpox, which in adults turns into shingles. I mean, when you get shingles, you feel like you're on your deathbed. You're not going to be moving. If someone comes to visit you, you don't feel proud. You feel like SHIT because of the sickness, the virus, and what it's doing to you. Especially if you're not taking medicine. I mean, if you don't take medicine, you're eventually going to die. So she wanted to die from this problem that she had. And now she felt proud. You don't feel proud from a viral sickness, but you can feel proud when you feel that your husband or your boyfriend is now going to come and give you attention and leave whatever he was having on the side, whatever affair, the curb. If he kicks it to the curb and comes to you, you feel proud. Oh, he likes me more than that one. Aha. So the story is showing itself. She was jealous of Jafar As-Sadiq's buttocks and wanted attention to her own buttocks. Therefore, she was proud of the visit. You know, Daddy's coming home. Oh, wow. However, she also feared the affection of the disease and thanked him for his troubles in coming. So when he arrived, she thanked him because she knows if she doesn't thank him. And then she told him, I'm afraid of this disease. I don't know how you're going to solve it. You know, when you run back and you say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I'll be a good boyfriend. I'll be a good husband. You know, we'll bring some flowers. And then you got to, prove to the person that, you're going to be there. Huh? So she's asking that. Hey, how are you going to be with me from now on? How are you going to make this right? What are we going to do? You want me? You don't want them. Or you want them or you want me? Which one? You can't have both. That's what she's saying. That's what the stories say. If you pay attention. He announced the good news. He's got good news. Good news. He knows he's got a plan. He's got a plan. He's going to show her. Prove it to her. Prove it. I'm going to prove it. Okay. Good news of her recovery. I got good news. You're not going to be bisexual no more. Huh? What? Okay. I asked Allah, the statue, to save you from the disease. You who? You Farwa, the little girl. Okay? You're safe from the disease. When I went to visit the tomb of my grandfather, great-grandfather that is, Muhammad, human filth, named Qata, I am sure that my grandfather does not reject my request. Now, according to all Shias, all of these Imams, Imam Ali, Hassan, Hussein, Ali Zain al-Abidin, Muhammad al-Baqir, Jafar As-Sadiq, Musa al-Kazim, Ali al-Rida, Muhammad al-Taqi, all of them, you go all the way up. All of them give you shafa. Every single one. You just go to their grave and you ask for whatever you want. Shafaat means the miracle, you get what you want, you go there, you become cured, whatever you want. Just go there, just go. According to the Shia Muslims and the actual theology of Shia Islam, if you go to them and ask, they can grant it. If someone can grant that, why are they going to ask another God? Why would they have to go and see the grave of a dead so-called prophet? I mean, he could do it himself. But no, because we need filler for the story. So the filler for the story is He asked God, Allah, the Allah of Islam. Because we don't have an Allah anywhere else. And then he asked his dead great-grandfather, Atam, human filth. Right? And then what did he say? And I'm sure my grandfather does not reject my requests. Rather, he will fulfill my demands. So be sure that you will recover. Oh, from the disease. So now she's being cured. She's being cured by words. Shingles is cured by words. And what are the words? The words are not, I pray for you and I put my hand on you and God will cure you. No. I asked them. I'm sure. There's no words of God here. It's just some guy talking rubbish. Allah responded to his prayer. How did Allah respond? Did he hear him? I mean, even Muhammad couldn't hear him. Did Farwa hear it? No, nobody heard it. Allah responded to his prayer. Farwa was totally recovered from this disease. Ooh. How did she recover? She had a change. Okay, I'll take you back. Okay, you talk to Allah. Here's the most important part. It was worth mentioning that this disease does not usually affect adults. Huh? But if they are affected, there are very few. I mean, yeah, if you become a bisexual, you're going to like being penetrated. It's part of science. You can get an orgasm much faster as a man if you get penetrated. If you don't believe me, go ask your medical doctor why, when they want a semen test from you, do they stick their finger up your buttocks, and what are they pushing, which will be your G-spot, so that you can ejaculate faster, and then they can collect that so they can do a test and see what disease you may or may not have. Go ask your medical doctor. Why don't they do it the way that, people do in their homes? Which is, why don't they do that? Why they go from the back? And then you get used to it. If it happens to you enough times, you get used to it. You don't believe me? Go to the prisons and interview the ones that it's been done to, and why, after they've been done to them, do they get passed around in prison from one person to another, to another, to another? And how come, instead of complaining, they keep their mouth quiet and go with the flow of being passed from one to another? Because they tend to get that orgasm and then they like it. It changes their psyche after all. So now, this is why when they get it as an adult, they stay with it. When it happens to them, it changes them. It didn't say in here, when people get this disease, they die from it. It says, very few recover. It didn't say they die. They live with it. It becomes part of them. His creativity and intelligence. Who's? Jafar As-Sadiq. In the last story, we found out Muhammad al-Baqir was bi. He preferred more male buttocks than female buttocks. But he did female buttocks on the side so he can keep an image, but really, truly, his heart was with the male buttocks. Now we're going to look at the intelligence and creativity of Jafar As-Sadiq. Let's see what he did. All of these come back to him being a stripper. He first learned it in the bed of his grandfather. He was taught how to take off the clothes and dance on the bed, jump a little bit here and there, and what to sit on. Then Muhammad al-Baqir continued this teaching. His mother got completely jealous, stole him, took him, threw him somewhere else so no one can find him, so no one can have access to him, wanted him to die. Muhammad al-Baqir went back to get him. Well, I think we forgot a part that really needs to be talked about. Okay. Right here, where it said, I am also immune if Allah will. After she was immune or to be cured, Muhammad al-Baqir says, I am also, you see here, I highlighted it again. In gray, you can see it. I am also immune if Allah will. Meaning, if he continues that act, then it's not him. It's that Allah wants him to do that act. So if he stays bisexual and if he stays attracted to the buttocks of males, that is because Allah ordered it that way. Allah forced it that way. He was the writer of the movie. Muhammad al-Baqir was the actor of the movie, and he acted the way that the writer wrote for him to act. And they say that they're against lesbians and the LGBT and all of that. Come on, man. Who are you kidding? Anyway, back to his creativity and intelligence. I mean, you can see for yourself. Was a symbol of his creativity and intelligence at an early age. Early. No one at the same age could ever keep up racing. He was running so fast, man. With him throughout history, okay? In his age, he beat everybody. Usain Bolt, man, you lucky you weren't there at that time. And he would have. This fact raised much astonishment and admiration. They were in love with him. I mean, everybody was in love with him. Now, here's the most important part. Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, Arab men wear a long white dress that's very tight, okay? It's not like a woman's dress, which, you know, is loose. No, it's like a tube, tight, right? If you don't believe me, I'm sure in your city, there are some Muslims, mostly from Pakistan, Bangladesh, and India, who are Muslim and want to dress just like their prophet and the Arabs, and they will wear that Arabic dress, okay? And go look at them. I mean, just walking is sometimes difficult. You can't take big steps, let alone running. If you want to run, you have two options. One, you have to pull that dress above your waist so that you can actually run and take long steps. Or you have to completely take it off, which means now you're running naked, or you have to wear a different type of clothing. And at 1,400 years ago in Arabia, they don't have pants to wear. They wore this Arabic dress, which means for him to run, either he has to lift it up to his stomach and run, or completely take it off and run naked. He has no other way. So he has to strip. Now you see how he's a stripper? But we're going to continue and find out these stripping moves that he learned in the bit of his grandfather. There was a lot of admiration. When they saw him naked from the waist down, they all fell in love. An admirable instance was his attendance in lectures of his father. Okay, when his father was giving those lectures, looking for gay students, while he was an infant. He was a little infant. You know, infant. Infant is a kid that all the kid can do. Let's list what an infant can do. Okay? Infants can sleep. Infants can poop without control of their functions. Infants will urinate without the control of their function. Infants will suckle from their mother's breasts for milk. Infants can cry. That's it. 5 works that all infants do. I mean, if you leave an infant on the floor and come back, your infant is still going to be on the floor. Doesn't know how to walk, doesn't know how to stand, doesn't know how to crawl. Right? That's an infant. Day 1 to maybe 6 months, 7 months. Then it turns into toddler. Right? The minute it can crawl, it's no longer an infant, it's a toddler. Then it starts to move up in age. So as an infant, this kid was sitting in the class. His age, even they say he wasn't more than 3. I mean, he was less than 3. But they said he was an infant. The reason why they have to add this part, whose age not exceeding 3 years, you don't call a 3-year-old an infant. The reason why they got to throw this in is because what they said here, that he was an infant, is so far-fetched that they know by chance, if any of their own Muslims read it, they will not believe it and they will doubt this whole story. So they had to add some fluff. He highly absorbed all of his father's lectures. He was SpongeBob. Okay. As an infant, by the way. You know, in Islam, the younger you are, the better the pedophilia business is. Okay. That's why in Islam, in the Quran, they have a guy named Isa, who's supposed to be Jesus, but Isa really means the semen of the white camel. Okay. Now, why would God name, supposedly, as Islam would say, one of his prophets, the name of the sperm of a white camel? I mean, if they're not insulting the guy, I don't know what they're trying to do here. But obviously, God would not insult his prophet that way. He would give him a better name. But nevertheless, this Esau character, while he was an infant, just newly born, not even a day old, not even a few hours old, not even an hour old, not even half an hour old. I mean, he just popped out and he starts talking, giving a lecture, telling the people, my mom didn't sleep with anybody. I am a prophet. I have a book. Hasn't it? I mean, he just born, man. But he came out with a book. Okay, according to them, he came out with a book, and the book had a Greek name on it. And he himself never spoke Greek. I mean, isn't that how it works? You, the viewer, don't you speak English but read in Russian? Just think about it. You do, right? Come on. That's how things work. Right? The Japanese read in Portuguese, the Portuguese read in Mandarin, the Mandarin read in Canton. Well, you know the thing. Ask Joe Biden. He also knows the thing. He highly absorbed his father's lectures better than the rest of the students who were high-rank scholars. All the students that sat to learn from Jafar As-Sadiq Islam, they were all doctors in Islam. Okay? Each one ran a university. They had their own students. But they came and they sat with him because apparently he can teach them more. He was looking for their buttocks. Okay, continue. You don't believe me? You're going to see. You're going to see. Okay. Here's another link. Here's another link. Link. Training students. We're going to see what Jafar did with his students. I mean, we all know what his father and grandfather were doing. Now we're going to see what he was doing. In order to train his students, Jafar As-Sadiq made the most out of the time when there was no dictatorship and cruelty because Abbasids and the Umayyads were in political conflict with one another over power. Let's break this open. So he was giving lectures at a time when the Abbasid tribe, who are Abbasid is coming from Abbas, the uncle of the Prophet, okay? That's where they're getting it. And the Umayyads, who were also uncles of the Prophet. Which Prophet? Human film. Qatar. Muhammad. Okay? So his uncles were fighting, which means the people fighting are all family members of Jafar As-Sadiq. All of his family members took out swords and they were trying to kill each other, cut each other's heads off, like Hamas did with the Jewish babies. They're all cutting each other's heads off, right? And they're saying, Allahu Akbar, you know, Allah is bigger. Bigger than who? Nobody knows. Allahu Akbar, he's bigger. We saw how big he is. I mean, he's not even at the same level as the gun that sticks under the soldiers of Israel. I mean, they're the shoe that the Israeli soldiers are walking on in Gaza right now and stepping on the gum. Allah is smaller than that gum. Because, I mean, look at this. According to Sheikh Osama Abdul Ghani, the Hamas is the soldiers of Allah. And right now they're all being killed, okay? So Allah has no power. Apparently he has no power at all. None whatsoever. However, back to this thing. All of his family members are killing each other. And there's no dictator. Of course there is a dictator. The Umayyads were still in power. And the minute they fell in power, the Abbasids took over. And they were also dictators. They were all dictators. Come on. Who's kidding who? All they wrote in here is nonsense bullshit. Excuse my French, but we got to use the word because that's the only word that fits. In doing so, Jafar As-Sadiq followed his father's footsteps. Remember, his father was gay? He was looking for buttocks. Jafar As-Sadiq is looking for the same. The school established by Bagh was expanded by Jafar As-Sadiq. So he looked for more buttocks. Okay? More is better. Don't be fooled with less is better. More is better when it comes to buttocks. Students trained in this school include, now they're going to give us a whole bunch of names, okay? Hashim ibn al-Hakam, Muhammad ibn Muslim, Abban blah 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 blah, Umar, Jafar ibn Hayyan. Remember that name, okay? Blah 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 blah. You got so many names, right? Some of these students were so advanced and well trained that they were the pivots of their field. For example, Hisham ibn al-Hakam, who wrote 31 books. Where are the books? And Jabir ibn Hayyan authored more than 220 books. Where are they? On various subjects, especially on irrational and natural subjects. He talked about what is in nature and what's not nature. And chemistry, which was called alchemy then. That is why Jabir ibn Hayyan is known as the father of chemistry. Now we're going to put that to a test. Remember that, okay? Remember it. Jafar As-Sadiq students were not limited to Shia. Rather, Sunnis also benefited from his knowledge. Many well-known Sunni leaders were directly or indirectly the Imam's student. You know what indirectly means? Let me give you an example. Somebody was the student of Jafar. Then they had their own student, who had his 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 own student, who had. Are you tired yet? Who had his own student? 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 Who had... Aha! That guy. Yes, he's the student of Jafar As-Sadiq. Indirectly. Okay? That's what that means. Indirectly. Okay? Foremost amongst the leaders is Abu Hanifa, who studied under the Imam for 2 years. You know how he was under the Imam for 2 years? Like literally. He was under the Imam, right? There was penetration going on, and the Imam was talking. And this poor guy, he was in pain, okay? Under the Imam, okay? Under, okay? Directly under. It's literal, okay? Under the Imam, okay? He talked of those 2 years as the foundation of his knowledge. After 2 years, he became bisexual. He couldn't leave it alone. He had to talk about it everywhere he went. Had it not been for those 2 years, I would have been destroyed. I mean, I saw the light. The light hit me after 2 years. Oh. Okay. We're going to go to Encyclopedia, New World Encyclopedia, regarding Jabir ibn Hayyan. Let's see who this Jabir is. The 2 earliest biographical sources that mention Jabir are from the 10th century. Okay? We're in the 21st, by the way. Several works ascribed to him and cast a doubt on his very existence. So some people, reputable people, don't even believe this guy existed. Another work from Kitab al-Fihrist, okay, of Ibn al-Nadin, an Islamic writer, part biography, part bibliography, written around 987, ascribes a long list of works to Jabir and insists that he was a real person. Okay, so Muslim says he's real, but non-Muslims say we don't know if this guy even exists. Okay. Ibn al-Nadim links Jabir with his teacher, the 6th Imam. Anytime you see this, where they write the 6th Shia Imam, remember that this is because Islamic Republic of Iran has paid for these wordings. Because for a non-Muslim writing about a Muslim, they do not care if you are Shia or Sunni. They're going to write about you. But the minute you see them put these words in, it means the person that's writing it cares about Shia or Sunni. Are you Shia or Sunni? And they're trying to prove a point. Aha, he's a Shia. I mean, they're trying to prove a point. which means there's money. It's a non-Islamic book, but it's writing it with an aim towards one side versus the other. Only Muslims are in the business of one side versus the other. Jafar ibn Muhammad As-Sadiq. Here's the other thing you have to see. In Arabic, when they want to say you are the son of somebody, let's say I have a kid, and you're going to write about my kid. You would write in Arabic the name of my kid, bin, B-I-N, and then my name. But if that kid is not my biological kid, so I adopted him somehow. Now you wrote his name, and then you put IBN, and then you put my name. For example, Ali ibn Abi Talib didn't live with his father Abu Talib. He lived with Muhammad Qatam, slept in his bed. Even when Muhammad ran away because he thought they were going to come kill him, he left his little Ali inside the bed. So when they put Ibn here, we're left with two choices. Number one, he didn't live with his father, and he lived with his grandfather and was the sexual toy of his grandfather, who was a pedophile. Or if he lived with his own father, which all Muslims say, including Shias, that he did not live with his father and he lived with his grandfather, that means this has to be an adopted kid, which means he cannot be Jafar, the son of Muhammad al-Baqir. So the only option here is, this is Jafar, son of Muhammad al-Baqir, who lived with his grandfather and was the sexual toy of his grandfather, who lived between 700 and 765. Others, his teacher was another Jafar, the Barmecide Vizier, Jafar ibn Yahya, who was put to death in 803 by the ruler Harun al-Rashid. Harun al-Rashid is a Abbasid Khalif. Remember how before they said there was no dictator? There was no dictator. The dictators were all, no, there was, all of them were dictators. Either of these two hypotheses lead to the conclusion that Jafar's life straddled in the 8th and 9th century. Okay? Past Jafar As-Sadiq. Link number 2, Britannica, another encyclopedia. Abu Musa Jabir bin Hayyan, born 721 in the city of Tus in Iran, not in Medina of Arabia, today known as Saudi Arabia. Okay? He was born in Iran. All of these supposed scientists of the Islamic world, if you go look at them, 99% of them are Iranian. None of them were Arab. And they were all put by a sword to their neck to be Muslim. So by, just to save their life, they say the Shahada to be Muslim. None of them were Muslim. And died in the city of Kufa, modern-day Iraq. By the way, modern-day Iraq became Iraq after World War II, when the British decided to carve the Middle East into different shapes. And they took the province of Bahrain of Iran, and they split it between Iraq, Kuwait, Bahrain, the island, part of Saudi Arabia, Oman, Yemen. That's right, the eastern side of Saudi Arabia on the Persian Gulf. There is no such thing as a Gulf. You don't call the Gulf of Mexico Gulf. You give everything its name. It's the Persian Gulf. There is no such thing as an Arab Gulf. The only Arab Gulf is when they play golf on some grass, okay? There is no such thing as an Arab Gulf, okay? It's a Persian Gulf. Don't let people fool you. Just like China Sea, just like a Hudson Bay, okay? Just like a Pacific Ocean. They all have names. There is no such thing as Gulf. Gulf states. What states? Around what Gulf? What is the name of the Gulf? Don't be fooled. So, the Persian Gulf, around it, all those lands that you see around it used to be part of the province of Bahrain, which was a province of Iran. The British decided to take that from the Raja and then controlled it until the end of World War II, where they cut it into pieces and made them different Arab nations. Until then, there was none of that. So when this gentleman died in Kufa, Kufa was still part of Iran. So the guy was born in Iran and he died in Iran. How the hell did he get into Medina? It's all lies. Muslim alchemists, known as the father of Arabic chemistry. So he's no longer the father of chemistry. He went down a step. Then there is also a Japanese chemistry father. There must be a Chinese chemistry father. There must be a Nigerian chemistry father. Everyone's going to have a nation of their own father. That's what's turned into. He systematized a quantitative analysis of substance and was the inspiration for Gabir, a Latin alchemist. Told you. Now we have a Latin alchemist who developed an important corpuscular theory of matter, the historical figure. According to the tradition, okay, here tradition means the history, because now we're talking history. Jabir was an alchemist and possibly an apothecary or physician who lived mostly in the 8th century. Some sources claim that he was a student. Again, you see, they throw it in there. They pay for it. 6th Shia Imam. For Britannica Encyclopedia, which is written by non-Muslims, what do they care if he's Shia or Sunni? Why not just say he was student of Jafar ibn Muhammad? Why they put in front of it 6th Shiite Imam? There's money in it. Money, 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 money. As the Carlson twins would say, money, 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 money. If you don't know who they are, look them up. You might give them some money out of that too. As a historian, Paul Caruso showed in the 1940s, however, the almost 3,000 works attributed to this Jabir cannot possibly have been written by one man. They contain too much disparity in both style and content. Means the way that they wrote is different. What do they mean by that? Have you ever seen some people when they talk, they use certain words a lot? Like they might say, every sentence they say there's a like Bill Gates does. He starts a sentence with and when he finishes it, they'll start the next one with and he has to say because he has to think about what lie he's going to tell you next. So in his mind, he has to formulate the lie. And while he's trying to do that and he's trying to sell you on it, he throws out the little Or you see some other people, they throw a lot of words like so, and so, and so, and like so, and so, and like so, and so, and like so. That's what they mean. The style and content. The way they talk is different. How could one person write it one way and then later on he changes? He's no longer saying anymore. Now he's turned into the like so, and so on, and like so, and so. Or you see some people, they'll throw out the word like this, and like this, and like that, and like this, and like, and like, and like, and like. You normally see little girls do that, when they become teenagers, and they want to put out a word, and everything that they want to say, there's a like in front of it, and a like in the middle of it, and a like at the end of it. Okay? That's what this happened. And that's how they know that this guy couldn't be the only writer. There's other writers. Additionally, the Jabarian, by Jabarian, they mean the era of Jabir. Corpus displays numerous indications linking it to the Ismailite movement of the Fatimid. Who are the Fatimid? The Fatimid are a group of Ismaili Shias, not Ithna Ashari Shias. The Ithna Ashari Shias believe in 12 Imams, Jafar being the sixth. The Ismailis, they have Imams until today. Aga Khan is their Imam of today. Okay? The Imams never end. They just keep going and going. Like the Energizer Bunny for you in North America, and like the Duracell Bunny for you in England. Keeps going, going. That's right. I know about you people in England. I know you very well. Yeah. Fatimi was a group that was governing over Egypt, and they were Ismailis. They're the ones who came up with the so-called theological university called Al-Azhar. Okay? It was theirs. And then the Sunnis took them over and killed them all, as Islam does. Killing is okay. Let's kill them all. That's what Islam teaches, You don't agree with them? When you get power, kill them all. Okay? And then later on, you can just make up whatever you want and justify why you did it. But just kill them first. Okay? It's in the Quran what you want to do. So now they're saying that it seems like those people wrote this thing and attributed it to that guy. Most of the works attributed to Jabir were probably written in the 9th and the 10th century. The next link, Quran Explorer. Okay, and they do hadiths as well. This book pertaining to the merits of the companions with them and the Holy Prophet. In the book of Sahih Muslim, book 31, there's the hadith for you. There's the hadith number for you. Aisha, the pedophile child of that became supposedly wife, because there's no izdawaj, there was a nikah, and you all know what nikah means. If you don't know what nikah means, watch my previous programs. I've talked about it in multiple programs. You, the viewer, should know by now what nikah means. Let's continue. This 9-year-old child is talking. The messenger of Allah, that human filth, qatam, the human feces, was lying in the bed in my apartment. Back then, the Muslims, they had like 3,000 floor apartments. Okay? With his thigh or his shank. Now they use the word shank here, but really they're not talking about shank. Shank is used in the prison to kill people. This is what's between his legs. Okay, down there. Okay? Uncovered that Abu Bakr sought permission to get in, knocked on his daughter's door and said, let me in, let me in. He was given permission to by human filth, and he, Muhammad, conversed in the same very state, in brackets, the Prophet's thighs or shank uncovered. His Arab dress, the men dress that they were, was up to his stomach, and everything below was naked, and he's laying down there like this and talking with an older man named Abu Bakr. I mean, in your household, I don't know if you would do that. If someone came to you, like your father-in-law came to your house. In your house, your father-in-law came to your house. Are you going to be naked from the waist down while you talk to him, and you're going to lie down on the bed? Or are you going to actually get up and put something on? You be the judge what you're going to do in your household. I don't know. Then Omar, his other friend, knocked on the door. I mean, everybody wanted a piece of Aisha. Come on now. She's nine. Come on. Pedophilia is rampant. Come on. Don't say it's not rampant. Look, everybody wants her. In the middle of the night, what is grown men who are old enough to almost be in a nursing home doing at a 9-year-old child's house in the middle of the night? Why are they all coming here, first of all? How do they know where Muhammad is? There is no cell phones. You can't call them and say, hey, I'm at this girl's house. He has multiple wives. These guys have nothing better to do in the middle of the night than to go to a 9-year-old's home. Then Omar sought permission for getting in, and the permission was given to him. And they conversed in the very same state. So now he's got two old men, older than himself. I mean, he was well over 54. Now he's got two guys who are older than him. So they're like in their 70s, okay? And they're sitting there, two old men, with this one old guy who's naked from the waist down in a bed, talking. Wonder what else they were doing. We're going to get to that. Then Uthman sought permission to get in. Allah's messenger sat down. Now he's sitting. Okay. He was lying before. Now he sits. Okay. And he sets right his clothes. He takes it off and sets it right. Muhammad, one of the narrators say, I do not say that it happened on the same day. One of the narrators says it's not the same day, but the rest say it's the same day. But it's not even a day, it's a night. They got everything wrong. He, Uthman, then entered. I mean, the guy, he knocked on the door, didn't even wait until you tell him yes or no. He just barged in. I mean, what kind of friends are these? I mean, if you're a friend, knocked on your door and opened your door and came in before you said come in, wouldn't you have some questions for him? And on top of that, this is an Islamic culture where you're supposed to knock 3 times. You gotta wait. You cannot enter the house of a woman who's not in relations with you. How does he know that the Prophet is there? He didn't hear anything. He's barging into a woman's house who's a 9-year-old child. Have you ever wondered maybe they want a piece of this 9-year-old child? That they're all coming in the house in the nighttime and they're barging in? Remember the barging in part. It barged in. Just walked in. Okay? Uthman sought permission for getting in and sat down. Allah's messenger sat down. I mean, he was already sitting down. How do you sit down if you're already sitting down? You must, before sitting down again, you must stand up. Then you're going to move from the chair you were in to somewhere else to sit again because you're already sitting. Doesn't make sense to you for you to stand up and sit right back down. You got to sit on something else, something hard. I mean, they were watching him naked for God knows how long this discussion was going on. Now he has to do something about it. You know, just think about it. Read between the lines. What are they saying to you? Uthman entered and conversed Muhammad didn't have time to put any of this clothes on. He was just sitting on something new. But the Muslims will try to tell you he wore his clothes. Well, we'll see. Yeah. Uthman entered and went out, conversed, and he went out. You know, he talked a little bit. He saw what was going on. And he said, this circus show, this is too much, man. I mean, I came to get a piece of a 9-year-old pedophile business here. But, I mean, you caught me in the act because you're also home. So I can't do what I came for. But on top of that, I mean, you're sitting on 2 men. It's a little too much for me. And he walked out. He goes, I'm bad, but I'm not that bad. Okay, that's what he was saying. So he went out. Aisha said, Abu Bakr entered. I mean, Aisha is watching all this. Abu Bakr entered. And by the way, this and here that has a mistake, this is from the side. This is not from me. And you did not stir, meaning by stir, like you didn't hurry up and try to put anything on. Okay. And did not arrange your clothes. Didn't even try to grab your clothes. You just left it the way it is, you know, naked. Then Uthman entered, and you got up and sat your clothes right. Meaning Abu Bakr, Omar, he was flaunting it. Like, come and get it. We're open for business. But then when Uthman came in, you sat your clothes right. I mean, you were trying to, you're like, oh, I left it here. Let me grab. He's already in here? Oh, too bad. I mean, I was trying to put something on. He was still naked. Thereupon he said, he who? Muhammad, Qatham, human filth, feces of humans. Should I not show modesty to one whom even the angels show modesty to? Meaning Uthman. I mean, you know, Uthman the pedophile. Uthman, the guy who during his time as the Khalif, the governor of the Islamic world, was killed by the hands of the Muslims. They refused to bury him in a Muslim graveyard, buried him in a Jewish graveyard, because the people of his time didn't even consider him a Muslim. Later on, in the time of the Umayyads, they had to buy that graveyard, say that all the Jews that were buried there are now also Muslim because Uthman is buried there. So they became Muslim after death without their own will, by the way. It was forced on them. I mean, imagine, you're dead, okay? Hundreds of years pass, and then somebody comes and says, you're not a Christian, you're not a Jew, you're not a Buddhist, you're not a Hindu. No, you're Muslim now because I said so. Imagine that. Isn't that funny? Wouldn't you laugh your head off when somebody, but they did that. Here's another link. Here's another link. That's right. You're reading it correctly, ladies and gentlemen. LGBTworldbesides.org. This is a LGBT website. LGBT World website. I didn't put what they put on their website in here because there's a copyright. And if I do, they'll take this program out. However, there is something I can do. I want everybody to go to this website, and I want everybody to see what they write. But to help you out, I'm going to do something. What I'm going to do for you is I'm going to show you that site. I will not read anything from it, so they can't say that we copied anything of theirs. We're actually promoting the site for you so that you can go in there and read it for yourself. You will see it in a few seconds because there's a delay between what I'm talking and when you're seeing. In the meantime, I'll drink some tea because I've been talking for so long. All right. You are seeing this. I want to get out of this as soon as possible so we don't get hit with a copyright. The secret gay history of Islam. They start talking. They even have images that Muslims made. Okay, and they start citing for you. Ancient Muslims. Then they talk about paradise, including male virgins, not just female virgins. You have to have male virgins. Number 3, they talk about how Sodom and Gomorrah is not an excuse. You see more pictures. These are pictures. Muslims made these pictures hundreds of years ago. This is not something they just made today. Lesbian sex used as a cure is another topic. That's right. Women were told to have sexual relations with each other to cure their disease. Remember we talked about the disease that the mother of Jafar As-Sadiq had? The same disease is showing up over here. Lesbian marriage and legendary couples. Okay, there's the picture. They get married. Men getting married. No problem. Okay. What would Muhammad think about LGBT rights? He's pro this thing. We're going to get out of that because we don't want to get slammed with a copyright. We advertised for this site. We did not read anything from your site, but we advertised so we can get more traffic flow to your site. People can go there and they can check it out for themselves. Okay? So you can go there and you can see. Back to our regular programming. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, back to our regular program. As usual, I forgot to look at the time when we started. A problem I have, I forget to look at the time. So I know I stopped here for the Iranian program. And when I stopped here for the Iranian program, I had actually gone over. So I assume that right now, I have probably gone over the time of 1 hour time limit, which means the rest we will have to cover next week. If you're liking our programs, be sure to click on your mouse if you're watching this through your computer or tablet or laptop or whatever it is. If you're watching this through your cell phone, be sure to tap that subscribe button with your finger. We need your help. It's a team. It's like a team, a football team, a hockey team, a baseball team. We're working together, you and me and you. I bring you the knowledge. You have to pass this knowledge. One way of doing that is by subscribing, because when you subscribe, you force the algorithm and the bots in YouTube to promote this. YouTube already gets paid by 54 Muslim countries to suppress any program by anyone on YouTube that's against Islam. That's going to hurt Islam. That's going to make Muslims become awake and leave this filthy religion. So, if they're going to do that, and they're going to force us to be down, you, the viewers, can help by clicking and subscribing, by clicking the like, by leaving a comment. These things force the bots and the algorithm to push the program more. By sharing the link on your Twitter, which is excellent, in WhatsApp with your friends, on your Facebook, cutting it in pieces and putting it in your Instagram, sharing it in Telegram. Underneath our program, I have my Linktree link. Click on it. It'll take you to all my social media. Click on Telegram and all the rest. In Telegram, I show things I cannot show here because they'll close the channel. Once again, till next week, I leave you in the hands of Jesus, and we will see you next